All right, I'm just in time. Good. All right. Good evening, everybody. Or everybody who's here. I don't know. How nice of you to join us again. I just had to grab some water, so I don't quite have everything set up. Let me just get the chat open so I can actually talk to you guys. There we go. And that's properly going everywhere. Good. Let's get started. I don't have any particular plans for tonight, so probably just doing some issues. We've still got issues, 34 issues. Every night I'm streaming, I'm trying to think of new jokes to make with issues, and it's getting kind of old. But yeah, got 34 issues. But the blueprint thing we were looking at the other day isn't one of them, because I actually managed to figure that one out just like basically the second I turned off the stream. I had one last look at it and I was like, dope, of course. Hi there, Smashville. Nice of you to join us. Glad you're here. So basically, I'll just quickly show you my stupidity because it knows no bounds. I was on the correct path. I kind of was hovering around it for like 3 times, and I looked back the bit where I was like working on this, and I was like realizing what an idiot I was later as well. But what I was doing is I was trying to reset the list of blueprints that we have in this controller. So basically, this list and this list both needs to get reset. So the blueprints are actually the blueprints that we have in memory, and the designators are like the way you put them on the screen. So what is actually in the game. I was able to reset the blueprints, but not the designators. So they would still like remain in the game. So you made a blueprint in one game, you started a new game without closing RimWorld, and then your old blueprints would still be there, which annoyed me. It's not important, but it just annoyed the shit out of me. So I was playing around with different ways to reset it here, and I played around with it in the instance creator, and it's like I just couldn't for the life of me figure it out. But then I realized that okay, actually, these blueprints or the designators are not actually kept in this class at all. That I just create a link to the designator, the list of designators on the designation category dev for blueprints, and then I just use that list. So this actually doesn't really exist at all. I should really not be using it because this never like this. There's never any point where a list is actually in this class. It's just a reference to the designation category dev. And I was trying to reset it in the constructor, which made no sense because then it was just a new list here which did nothing, and then I would get to the initialization, and then I would actually, where did the initialization go? And then I would be linking it to the designation category afterwards, and then everything would just be back because I had reset an empty list. Whoop-de-doo. So I'm now doing it after that. I'm clearing it, adding back in the one thing that I actually want to be there, and then we're adding all of the blueprints that are actually supposed to be there. It works. I'm just ashamed it took me so long to figure that one out. But hey, it works now. Right. I'm gonna quickly spam the RimWorld chat a little bit, as usual. I can probably use this one again because it won't be very far away. Yep. Can probably copy paste that, put it in there. Do please drop by. Alright, that should do the trick. And we'll slam it in there again as well. Ooh, he's got a very nice little banner thingy there. Nice. Very professional. Yeah. It's not a very good position to be gaming in, but yeah, that's nice. All right. So let's have a look at what what's on our plate. We should probably stick to one mod a little bit, unless we have some sexier things to look at. Welcome, Fish Prince. So that's a research tree, medical tab. This one is really simple, but might be good to look at, because I don't think a lot of mods actually do this. This is a slightly bigger one than that one as well. It's kind of the same one. Multiplayer incompatibility. That's a whole different thing that I need to look at. Have you guys been playing with multiplayer yet? Like making your mods? Multiplayer? What do you call it? Compatible, I guess. Didn't I close that one? Any particular reason, Phil? Or yeah, I kind of had the same experience. Like, and I even had I think it was Charlotte, but he has a different name as well. Like doing some of my stuff. I think he did like my research tab or something, and like tried to show me around a little bit. But it's just I just don't understand how it's supposed to work. So I'm really hesitant to. Yeah. And by the time I was looking at it, there was also no like stable API. So I wasn't going to spend a lot of time on an unstable third-party API that might change at any point. But I think they've got a fairly stable API now. Yeah, that's a good point too. That's also a good point. Could put like a branch on GitHub or something and see if people want to test it. But I don't know. I guess the average Steam crowd isn't going to do that. True. That is true. You can do that. Well, let's have a quick look at some research tree and blueprints issues. Try to clear those out. That's what I would normally do, is just like pick one mod and do everything for that. Just because it makes it easier for me. But I kind of feel like that might be a little bit boring for you guys, but I don't know how you feel about it. Anyway, let's do that one first. So basically there's a tutorial in the game, and just the old learning thingy as well. I don't know what it was called before, but it basically has a couple of tags that it wants you to do, and you can set these in code. But I generally just tend to ignore that the tutorial exists at all. And to be honest, I also kind of feel like if you're still playing the tutorial, you shouldn't be modding the game. But that being said, I probably also shouldn't actively like sabotage the tutorial. So basically we need to figure out what the specific tag is for this, and select research, and then just implement that in our mod, which should really be quite simple. So that being said, let's open up the research tree, which I haven't worked on in a while, apparently. Yeah, sure. I can save that. And we'll have a quick look at. I guess is this like a main tab window research or something? Yep. Let's have a look at what we have in here. Wow. It's a big class. Alright, so this is the main window contents drawing function. My mouse is misbehaving. That's better. So all of this is just checking if there's a research bench to give a little warning for that. Okay, that makes sense, putting it all in there. And then we have a left rect and a right rect. So I'm not even entirely sure how the old one works again, but I think you click the research button in the left rect, right? You have to select it on the right and then click a button on the left. Research prerequisites, menu section, finished, in progress, logged, research. Oh, no, didn't mean to click that. Yeah, so this is gonna be it. Tutor system, notify event, start research project. So it should just be a matter of copy pasting that, putting it in ours, and then it should work. Not even sure how we're going to test that, but let's find out. Right, so this is where we draw the entire tree. I think this is just going back to the individual nodes. So that would be on this one. And then this will have an on click or something. Let's have a look. Draw texture, draw texture, draw texture. Research mod, no, it has to be in, right, here we go. This is a button and not research, not, and this is where we queue it up. Might as well do it in the queue, right? That actually makes more sense, I think. Yeah, and queue itself is really never called outside of the queue component. So this is the only one that is actually called by the research node. Maybe it does make more sense to put it in there. Yeah. Screw it. All right. Let's see if we can test that. Oh wait, I already have it then. Let's get rid of some of the other stuff. Yep. Would you guys like to see if we can figure out the multiplayer stuff? We could do that on stream. That's new for all of us. I mean, it'll take me forever, but hey. Right. Well, let's just quickly finish this one then, and we can have that a go. Give that a go. Have a go at that. Talking is difficult. I do actually need to turn the tutorial on, or actually play the tutorial. Oh, I'm gonna hate this so much. Does anybody know how long this thing actually is? It's using starting site. Light green area with brown dots. Is that temperate? Yeah. Sure. No, I've never done it either. I mean, I was already always annoyed by the first little learning helper that we had. And now it's just... What am I supposed to do? Right. You don't like a character, you can regenerate them. Click the randomize. Start when you're ready. Is it smart enough to be able to skip steps? Or do I have to do everything? Bing. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my fucking god. You must remove their forbidden designation, yes. Oh yeah, we don't have allow tool, so we have to do this on every single fucking one of them. Wait. Oh, no, we can do this smarter, right? Are you kidding me? It doesn't even allow me to use like the mass designator thing, which does exist, right? God, this is annoying. I hate this. I hate this so much. Oh, I don't have to rotate them. This is gonna be your worst barracks ever. They do force you to put the horseshoe pin down, which I always forget. And then I realize by the time one of them starts berserking. Oh, it bloody well better. If it doesn't save that, I'm pretty sure this will have fixed it anyway, but let's find out. If it forces us to wait for like the first harvest or something, I'm gonna be annoyed. There must be like a testing mode for this as well, though, right? I mean, he's not gonna sit there and do this 20 times if he... I'm sure there is. Can I do like something special here? Just trying to alt-click it or something. Rice. Equip. Whatever. That one. That one. And you were actually doing a revolver, right? Very good. Cook simple meal 10 times. Oh. Mine doesn't. Did that just appear? That just appeared. This is a terrible idea to just mine an entire chunk like that, because usually there'll be a roof over it, and it will crush your colonists. 10 trees. Fuck you. Work tab. Yes, but you'll be very annoyed because you're not allowed to do anything else. Like, I'm not allowed to click any of these other tabs. I just have to do the work. I hate it when tutorials do that to you. Alright, have fun. Ooh, here we go. Simple research bench. Open the research tab. Okay, it's getting this far. Yeah, we can do that. We can definitely do that. You actually have like a main button worker, and I'm actually already overriding it to have like this little circle on there to show you how many things you've got in the queue. I'm not sure if it's it's not actually continuing. Yeah, it's because I never actually... Pro tip, if you want to test your mod, make sure you actually use the new version of your mod, the version you want to test. That generally tends to help. I sure as hell hope this thing saves. Gosh, I'm such an idiot. I swear streaming does this to my brain. Goblin, that's part of the reason why I initially made the release script, so that every time I would like press Ctrl-Shift-B to build the thing, it would then have like a post-build script that moved everything over to RimWorld, cleans everything out that is there, moves everything new over. Make sure that you don't accidentally copy the RimWorld DLL, because I did that too many times that I actually like explicitly put a filter on it. Like, you're not allowed to copy that shit. Right. Still not. Oh, yes. Check. That's all I wanted to know. Spent a good many hours working on a file that got copied to somewhere else. Yep. We did this on stream the other day. Well, not quite this one, but like all of my modding stuff is in like a synchronized directory. It's pcloud. It doesn't matter. It's one of the Dropbox clones. But it has a cheap encrypted plan, which is useful for my work data. Anyway, but it kind of stutters sometimes, especially when files get manipulated by like programs, because it goes too quickly from new file to locked for copying and whatever, and then pcloud just craps out a duplicate version. So instead of actually getting a new version and overriding it, pcloud was making it so that all of my new changes would be getting in a duplicate version, which was really annoying, because obviously my new changes wouldn't show up until you got to like the 10th version, because it would be like, then it would be in the alphabetical order, it would be before the other ones again or something. So it's like every 10th version something updated, and you tweak it, and then 9 times it doesn't do anything. It's like... But we figured that one out eventually. Right, that's working. Good enough for me. We might as well get started on this one with as far as the research or the multiplayer is concerned. So let's see what the state of the multiplayer mod is. That was definitely the wrong button. That one. Oh, I actually left the thingy. There will probably be a link here. Yeah, Discord server. Easily add support. We'll just see how easy that is. The multiplayer compatibility project. I'll tell you now, if somebody's already spent the time to make like mini mods to make all of my mods compatible, I am not touching that shit. Anyway. Reaches your mod, the API is ready to use, you can call it however you see fit. Sure. Yeah. Okay. So you want a method call to trigger, for example, a click. I don't know who D9 is, but yeah, you should. You definitely should. C# is not hard. It's really not. And I mean, if you're doing XML modding and stuff, you already have like the type of analytical mind that is necessary for this stuff. Doing a patch, an XML patch, is much harder than your average C# mod. C# tells you when you're doing something wrong. It tells you where to look. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously it's not easy, but it's also not hard, and you can definitely do it. I mean, the hardest part is just getting an idea of what the RimWorld environment looks like, so where you have to look for things, and that just comes with experience, and nobody can teach you that. And getting good at searching in the decompiler. Right, we were looking at this. Okay. So basically all we need to do is this sync method thing. That's great. Yeah. You have to put it like make a spike trap the normal damage def so you can make it do heat defs instead of with sharp. Yeah. Have you? I was looking at like modding tutorials the other day, and Jackroll, I think it was, has like the modding tutorial thingy on his on the Ludian forums, and I think he actually did like he calls it a plague gun, and I haven't actually looked at what he's doing, but just from the idea, that sounds exactly like what you want to be doing. It's like instead of doing a damage def, do a heat def. You might want to have a look at that. Alright, so does this, I mean, this is all nice and everything, but would this also work when the function has, what you call it, parameters, arguments, whatever? This is here to set the variable if it changes on the client. It will update the variable and the logic will stay the same. But why is then this, why are these two different things? That doesn't seem to make terrible amount of sense to me. All right. Yeah, but again, the action is that's just a delegate, so that has no parameters. How to reference your type to send it to other clients. Basically, if you have my argument type, yeah, okay. So this is basically teaching it how to serialize the type, I guess. Assuming my return type is made of a string, an int, and a float, here's a write a sync worker for it. Like sync worker sync ref my return type. So you have to bind to those three things again. Okay. Make this a type is constructed before being passed to the sync worker. Writing and reading for usage constructs makes it so the type is constructed before being passed to the sync worker, not needed for structs. Right, okay, so that's for instance types. Sorry, what? Okay. I don't understand this particular part, but I'm sure that'll be fine. I am not confident about this at all. Okay, let's start this with making a new branch, because I don't want to fuck up my my master branch. So now we're on a new branch. If we make lots of changes, it doesn't end up working out, we can just obsolete the branch. This is usually good practice if you're making some new feature. It also stops you working on this. If you're working together with multiple people, then it stops you from working on the same stuff at the same time. Sometimes, other times it can actually cause conflicts. But let's not get into that. For me right now, I just like it to have it in a separate place, so I can test it if necessary or stuff like that. And if it doesn't work, I can just put it aside and then keep working on something else and come back to it later. We will need the actual DLL. That seems fairly recent. Is there a release? To include the NuGet package in your package. Wow, we're getting fancy, aren't we? I never do this. Alright, RimWorld multiplayer API. I think I've done this once for like a YAML parser. So I should know how to do this. It's just in references and add package or something. Manage NuGet packages. And we can search for this. Browse. Whoop-de-doo, we found it. Not food, that's Charlotte's, I think. Let's install this stuff. And now it should show up as a reference here somewhere. There we go, Zero multiplayer API. Good. That's a start. Okay, I think what we need to do is take over this part. So this is an enumerable research node. I have no idea if multiplayer handles research node. We could do it differently, and we could take this one. And we don't have to deal with the enumerable. It's kind of cheating. And one of the things I don't know, which I would really like to find out, is what happens when you do, like at one point in time, you do like 20 changes. Because you're like adding 20 researches to the queue or whatever. Like, would it, if I'm doing it here and I'm sending like, I do 20 updates, would that mean that, is it smart enough to bunch up everything and send it as one update? Or is it going to send 20 packages over the network and do it as 20 different updates? Because it's not such a big deal if it's doing that for this one, because 20 is like in the larger terms of things, that's nothing. That's still, you can ignore that. But I'm also doing it with WorkTap, or I want to do it at some point. And the ideal way to do it is that everything eventually boils down to one function that just sets it just sets the priority for a given pawn or for a given work giver for a given hour. But there can be, like, let's say there's 30 pawns in a game. You have, what, 80, 90, 100 work givers in a modded game, and 24 hours. So if you mass do some change, that's going to be like thousands of changes being like mirrored, synced, whatever. So I'm really curious if it bundles them or if it does it one by one. If it bundles them, then great. We can just do it at the atomic level of tiny changes. That would be ideal, because then I just have to do one thing. If it keeps them separate, then I would have to do it probably for all of the intermediate levels. Like for all of the functions, like, okay, change everything for 1 day for this pawn, change everything for all pawns for this 1 day, or whatever. Which is going to be kind of a pita. But let's get the basic things first. So we want to sync method. We have parameters on that. Attributes, targets, method. No, that's just the thing for this. Context is synced to context, none. What are my options there? What does that even mean? Map mouse cell, current map. Oh god, let's not go in there. That looks complicated. Okay. This research node is a custom thing, so we need to have a worker for that. And we also can't just use any research node, because we have a limited list of research nodes. So we need to find the specific instance of it on the other client. So we can't just use the simple example they used. But let's create a new class for this. So this is sync worker research node. And what did that look like again? Is it this one? Did I? By the way, if I'm saying something that is not right, or like you just don't understand what I'm saying, please do ask. Because it's entirely possible that I'm just making a huge mistake, and I would like you to point it out to me. So we're doing this one now, and then we need to have a sync worker for this. Let's just copy that one for now, and then we can... Yeah, Smash, you will. Yeah. Well, I mean, on the conceptual level, you can still ask about things. Okay. So to me, it would make sense if this had like a type reference. So here I would have to like do type of my type, but apparently that's not the case, and you actually have to put it in here. Um, Fish Branch, are you talking about multiplayer or just modding and C Sharp? And yeah, Smash, it helps if you have some idea, but even that is not like you'll learn it as you go. But yeah, you will have to put quite a few hours in, and I mean in the beginning you're finding out lots of things about what it means if something is protected or static or all that jazz, and yeah, you're gonna find out and the difference between a static constructor and like a normal constructor. That I think I only learned that like last year because it suddenly became important because RimWorld suddenly started doing loading on a different thread, and if you didn't have a static constructor, then things would suddenly explode. You know what classes or methods are? Yeah. I mean, what I'd done before this is PHP a little bit and R, which is like a statistical programming language. In both things, you can have classes, but I never used them. All of my code was just spaghetti. I mean, you know what a method is, but you can learn with C Sharp. You can definitely learn with C Sharp. Anyway. Okay, so here we're just sending shit over the line, right? So we're just saying all of the information in here. I think the only thing that is important to identify a node is the actual name of the research. Everything else we can infer from that, because every research in a node is related to exactly one node, or like actually research project is related to exactly one node. So can we use label? No, we can't, because that will be translated. And translations might differ between clients on a multiplayer thing. Yeah, so just def name. That will do. That should always be right. Then here we can say equals worker read. This is string. Is this supposed to have like a... Like, how does it know that this one relates to this one? Is it just the order of things? I mean, it doesn't do anything special here. It just writes it and reads the pond, but there's only one thing there, so I mean... Yeah, I don't want bind. Reads an object inheriting asynchronizable interface. So I can also do it with an interface from the start. Great, cool. Synchronizables and readers were implemented by the multiplayer mod. Yeah, sure. From the memory stream. Well, that implies that it's an ordered thing. That's terribly helpful. Yeah, I had a brief run-in with MATLAB as well, Smash. Didn't last very long. And Java. God, I hated Java. I mean, it's also like learning a programming language. I'm sure that if RimWorld was in Java, or I started like modding with, I don't know, what is a game in Java? I know this. Don't. Damn it, Kerbal Space Program. That's Java, isn't it? Or it used to be, at least. Is Minecraft Java? I've never played Minecraft, but sure, let's say that's. Then I might have spent more time and energy on trying to actually learn it. So I think the key thing when you're trying to learn a language is to have a problem that you want to solve and that you find interesting. And then just pick a language for it, any language. So I try to do this at work now. Whenever somebody gives me like a new program to solve, and I try to find out, like, okay, which language could I do this in that would make sense for the problem and that I would like to learn. So that's how I learned. Like I started doing more with Python. I started forcing myself to do more with JavaScript, TypeScript, Node.js, that kind of stuff. I've never yet forced myself to work with Java. I did do a little bit in C++ as well, but that was kind of over my head, to be honest, at that point. Would like to maybe try it again a little bit more, but yeah. And still now, I mean, occasionally I just do projects in different languages just because I can. I did the Reddit bot, like the Modlinker bot there, and that's in Python just because I could, and I figured like, yeah, sure, there's stuff available to do it in Python. Let's try it in Python. Let's try to deepen my knowledge about that a little bit. If I were to do it now, I would probably try to do it in like Go or Rust, because those are like the sexy new languages of the moment. But yeah. Anyway, so if this works like I think it works, then it's just an order thing. So whatever I write first, I read first, etc. Doesn't really matter. We're only reading and writing one thing anyway, so what else? Then we have the research dev name, and then we should be able to just get the particular instance that we want to get. So we have our research tree somewhere here. Is this a static thing? Can I just reference this? I think I can. Yeah, it's a static class, so I should be able to. Do I need to save that? Sure, I'll save that. Say return. Wait, no, this shouldn't return. Node equals 3. Is this all nodes? Nodes. I have a thingy for this, I'm pretty sure. Like I have an extension to do this. Well, definitely not that one. That's probably this one. Yeah, this one. So yeah, I need of type and then research equals research. Yeah. I should probably use this just so I can get the error messages at all as well. So we've got the def there. And then we'll just have to say node equals def database research project def get named. We definitely want it to hard fill. This is research def, and from this we want to get the research node. Theoretically, that should work. So because I'm still doing the multiplayer stuff, the thing is, because I want to sync research nodes and research node is not something that is normally in the game, so it doesn't know how to transmit that like over the wire. So you need to basically serialize and deserialize it so that you can put it in a format that you can send over the internet and then reconstruct whatever you want from it. So normally you would do that by just like taking all of the relevant data that is in the class, sending it over, and then reconstructing the class on the other side. I actually don't need anything other than the name of the research project, because from that I can get the research project def, and then I can get the research node affiliated with that again. So all I'm sending over the wire when it's writing, so when it's sending, is the def name for it, because the def name should never change between languages and whatever. Then on the other hand, I'm reading that again, getting the def associated with it, and then the research node for that. So now we're just going to test this. So I need to subscribe to the multiplayer mod quickly. Is this one? Yes. And I hope this will be... they should reload it in there, I think. Not sure if it will install without... No, it will. Good, cool. Right, so we need the multiplayer mod. I have no idea where I'm supposed to put that. I haven't implemented that in my out-of-game mod manager thingy either yet, so... yeah, I guess we'll need to work on that as well. I mean, the basic thing is working. I just have quite a few things that I still want to implement. Like like I can load into a save game, but only when you have like a little mini mod loaded. So I need to automatically install that once needed. This is kind of something that I tried to do, but I couldn't do. Mod list filtering searching is not working for the active mod list for reasons. And before I can do like a full release, so this is kind of like for the basic stuff. You can already get this, by the way. It's on my GitHub, so you can just install it. It just don't come to me when stuff goes wrong. Then I wanted to be able to deal with manifests and like orders and incompatibilities and all that stuff that I have in my normal mod manager. I haven't tested at all for Apple or Linux or all this other jazz. I wanted to be integrated with Steam much nicer, as my other mod also does, like my in-game mod. Present the description of mods in a better way, and just like some keyboard navigation. And then at some point, like I also want to do this kind of stuff, but that's future projects. But you can get this now. So it's this one. Yeah, and it actually has a release here that you can use. And it will actually auto-update when I make changes and stuff. So feel free to use it, and it should do all that jazz. It's an Electron app, so it's horribly inefficient with like memory and all that stuff. But it's very convenient to use for me. Okay. Anyway, we were going to test this. I have multiplayer in there. Got the research tree. Give it a shot. Yeah, why not? So I need to do that one and do it again. Oh yeah, now it's going to load me into a game. It's not actually what I wanted to do. It's trying to do the config at the same time. So when you do this, don't load both games at the same time. Sure, lesson learned. Oh, this has reset my mod list as well. No, it hasn't. Why is Huxlip not there then? Let's just restart it, make sure it works. I want to go quit the main menu anyway, because I probably need to do the multiplayer thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something that's been requested before, Goblin. It's something that I kind of recommended up till now to use the mod list for. Because you can just make a mod list of one group and then for mods and then another one for another group of mods and like add them to each other. It doesn't have to be exclusive, so to say. Okay, so multiplayer, host. Do I have to do a game? Alright, sure. Well, let's do that one then. Yeah, because I added multiplayer. Oh, that's fine. Just continue anyway. What could possibly go wrong? What is this? Tooltips, people. Ah, right. Do I want Steam? Do I want an arbiter? Which runs in the background and helps with desync solving. Sure. Debug mode. That sounds good. Yeah, it's not actually dragging though, Goblin. It's more like a click and point to the right thing interface. I forgot that the tutorial is still on. Can we... Do you go away if I do that? No, you won't even let me do that. I hate this, I hate this. Because now I'm not allowed to open research. Am I? I am. Good. Wait, so now I have to change my username every time? Oh. Oops. Right after core and before Huxley. It is though, isn't it? Ah, they have a manifest. Good. Cool. I mean, I have to say, I'm still amazed that this works at all. I always expected it to like, okay, somebody's going to figure out how this works and then it will just run like crap. But from what I've seen, it actually runs really rather well, which is super impressive. Yeah, I mean, it's just super impressive. Alright, moment of truth. I click that one on the other screen, it matches up without bitching at me. Well, that didn't work. I did save it this time, right? Yeah, up to date. So I was doing this in debug mode, so presumably there is a debug something somewhere. Yeah, that's just me. So what does debug mode mean then? Does it make like a debug extra thing? I don't see anything. Talk to me, people. Does anything happen if you resume the game? I mean, that shouldn't be it, right? I mean, you should be able to set commands when a thing. But yeah, I can see stuff happening. So the debug mode is just logging. So apparently this is just not calling my function. Presumably. So presumably if I do the changes here, yeah, it'll do stuff. Hey, this is just super awesome still. Alright. Well, let's add some more logic to it. Method sync my archetype type is never used. Yeah, was I supposed to do something specifically with this? This is like supposed to pick it up automatically, right? Because this is the example they used. You have a sync worker for it. I mean, they have like a return type and an argument type. But presumably that, like, this isn't a magic name or something, is it? And even if it is, I think I'm using the argument type, so that should be, yeah. Am I doing it on like the enumerable? No, I'm just doing it on this one. Was I supposed to do anything else? No, it was just this, right? Sync method. Oh, wait. No, I also don't need to create an instance. Do I have my own? Yeah. No, this is fine. Deal with it. Well, if all else fails, just add some more logging. So this is where we're calling this method. So let's just see that we're even calling this method at all, because I do believe we should be. But maybe I'm Yeah, because this is what we're calling with the list of nodes. Yeah, we should probably sync this one as well, though. But I mean, even then, it should just give us like a duplicated list or something. It should give other errors. But right now, it just looks like nothing is getting synced. So it's just not working. Right, and let's have a little right here as well, just to see what we are doing. Can't use that because when we go in node, it's going to be null. Let's just have a quick check to see that we're... oh, no idea what that button I just pushed there. Let's just have a quick look to see that we're properly copying all of the assemblies over, which we are. This is everything we use. Right then, I'll just have to restart the damn game. I really don't want it to load into this tutorial test anymore. That's annoying me. So, well, I'll make a new game. Well, that's fine. Oh, I can just host it from here as well. Okay, cool. Then we need to stop this one because that's still running the old assemblies. Okay. Okay. Do you know whatever happened to Jackro? I don't know. Did he stop modding? I've been away for almost a year or something, or virtually completely away, so I have no idea what happened to the modding scene lately. He's been gone for close to a year. Okay, well that sucks. No, honestly don't know. I guess he got enough of it? Burnout? Got a job? Girlfriend? No idea. No, wait, multiplayer. Oh, this is really cool. I really adore this mod from a technical standpoint. Fluffy1 has joined. Awesome. Do we get to see the old chat? No. Oh well. Okay, so I mean, it is syncing some stuff. You can see our mouse going. And if we look at work tabs, then that's syncing. Okay, so the basics are working. We can also see stuff is getting invoked, whatever. So if we look at the research tab here, nothing is happening on that side, on the other side. Is stuff happening on this side? Yeah. It is. It is enqueuing these two things. So what it is not doing is calling our worker on it. I'm an idiot. I am an idiot. What's this? Oh, goody. Okay. Oh yeah, I was profiling the layout generation algorithm. Can spend another month talking about that one, but yeah. Where is my... Like, I have an overall controller or something, right? It's just the main tab window. Right, okay, so this is where I do my Harmony patches. This might as well be where I do my multiplayer. I don't like this. Alright, that should do the trick. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Server closed. Yeah, sure. Just restart this one. No, that's not the button I wanted to click. That one. So what's happened to all of the mods he did? Like, he's behind all of the... like the Lord of the Rings stuff and the Rim of Madness and like he had so many content mods, didn't he? Or am I confusing him with somebody else now? Some good stuff too. A little bit buggy sometimes, but lots of content. Cool stuff as well. It's still there. I mean, I was looking at some of it like yesterday or something, I think. Oh, that sucks. No, I guess he didn't give like update privileges to anybody or something. Oh, wait. Yeah. Problem with that is that if nobody like official picks it up, then you start getting multiple versions. And no offense, but they often tend to be half-arsed. Ooh, that's not good. No idea what's happening here. Something with Mod Manager recursively trying to get its own settings or something, but what else? Don't think that will influence what we're doing. Are we 2 again? Maybe? Yay! Fluffy 2. Alright. It is syncing. Let's open the research tab there. Open a research tab here. Yeah, bitches. Alright. What probably doesn't work at the moment is if I add something else. Yeah, it's not properly resetting it. So it's just adding it to the list on that one. And not even all of it. Why not all of it? Oh, it is. It just won't show me. It has added it there. So I haven't synced the clear properly. Because I can just keep syncing this and it's just going to add more and more stuff to that, which will desync the game. I don't know if he's doing pull requests or disappeared entirely. Yeah. And we could find out and look at his GitHub and see how often he's been posting and stuff still, but... Well. Alright. I don't know how it will handle enumerables, but I suspect we would have to do... we would have to serialize them ourselves. I think. Like, I don't think there's a sync worker or something for yeah, this is all just for like different value types, or it's asynchronizable, and I guess they implement a bunch of things. Well, let's see what they actually implement. So this is MP types, that's where we would be looking, I guess. This is just the attributes. It's not quite what we want. It seems quite tiny. All right. So these are all of the various bind things for different value types. Double strings, bools, floats, whatever. You would expect there to also be some for things like defs or whatever. But apparently that's not a thing. My problem right now is that I don't think I can stream. I don't think I can, like, push an entire list of things. Like, it's not gonna know what that is. I think. Like, this write thing will tell me I cannot write a list. Sure, just do it. Dope. Of a string. I'll have to initialize that. Oh, apparently you can. Why can you? I don't trust this one bit. Not at all. But let's just give it a shot. What can go wrong, right? Copy the whole damn thing. We want to sync research nodes, and this will be sync research nodes. And this will be a sync worker for a ref enumerable research node. I highly doubt this is gonna work. Node select node research dev name. And then on this end of things, I would say read enumerable string It's still not telling me this is not possible. So either they haven't got their like the restrictions on what is allowed in here set up properly, or this is just going to work, or it's going to fail horrendously for some other reason, which is entirely possible. Dev names, select name, get names, name. Okay. Theoretically, if this works, yeah, if this works, then it's just going to do basically the same thing. So I should be able to, instead of sync this one, to sync this one, because the bool add is not an issue, and now it should know how to synchronize that. I highly doubt this is going to work. Yeah, sure, whatever. Did I still have... Oh, yeah, this is already... Yeah, that's fine. Debugging this is kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest. Like having to start 2 versions of it every time, changing the username. The Could probably set up a script to do that, but then I need to start another version. Can I just turn off quick start altogether? I mean, that should save and then persist into this one, theoretically. Yeah, it kind of is, Goblin. I've got this nice workflow where I can normally just restart it, but now you have to do like manual things every time. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but just annoying. I can just make a little crash landed thingy. Host that. Get in there. Alright, that works. Still way cool, this. Is it? It shows you what I've got selected and everything. Yeah, this is so super cool, to be honest. Alright, expect errors. Massive amounts of errors. Okay. Color me suitably impressed. Yeah, that's just not showing because it's too far down. But I mean, if I do this, then it's just resetting everything. Black magic! Can anybody see any reason why this shouldn't work? Like, are there any mod settings or something that could influence this? I don't think so. No, it doesn't have any settings at all. I mean, even if for some reason it's entirely possible you get different trees, but the logic of the tree should still be the same. Like, it may not be laid out the same, but the order and like the prerequisites and stuff must be the same, assuming you've got the same mod set. And if you don't have the same mod set, then multiplayer isn't going to work anyway. So, what if you click on the other client? Yeah, probably should test that too. But yeah, this is quite sexy. Okay. That was much simpler than I expected, to be honest. So to quickly, like, all we had to do is give a custom serialization, deserialization for this particular argument. And that's kind of it. Just slap a few attributes on somewhere and register them. That's amazing. What happens if I already have some stuff in my thingy here and I join as a new client? So it's called a replay now? Sure. So this one quits. He's done. Doesn't like you anymore. And then he decides to rejoin. I mean, that should be good enough, right? Does this one get its own save game? We'll find out soon enough. So it doesn't say that's turned over, but it does still have the queue. So it like redoes the queue somehow. That loaded way too quickly for me to trust that it was like sending over a save game or something. But maybe it's in the log. Be nice if Richard's tree wasn't so spammy now. This has way more. Oh, because of course this is before we reloaded the thing. Right, let's just do that again one more time. Alright, so this is just this section. Syncing, reading, syncing, reading. Yeah, this is what I thought. So this is what the replay does. It saves all of the actions. And then it just replays those actions. So all of the things that we did with the enqueuing and dequeuing and whatever are just repeated again. So that means that we don't have to worry about like recovering from some sort of save game state or something. I'm gonna call that done. I think that will work. Okay. Should we just release it and see if it breaks for people? Because normally what I do with major changes is I put it on a different branch, or at least I don't put it as a new release. I just put it like a pre-release only on GitHub, and then I tell people like, please have a look if you want to test the new things. And then nobody does anything, and then a week later I just put it on Steam, and if it breaks, then I get 20 comments within the hour, and if it doesn't, then yay! To be honest, I think this is such a minor change that it should just be... Yeah, I got that, Smashville. I do it too sometimes. I think this is such a minor change that it's unlikely to break anything for normal players. So yeah, we could just put it out as an experimental multiplayer support. So let's just call it that. So we'll merge from multiplayer into master. Merge. Already up to date. Did it do that? Apparently it did do that. I'm not good at Git, and especially not with the Git plugin in Visual Studio. Yeah, it has the extra files now. Okay. Okay, then we need to release that. Yeah, it's just still the stuff we were using last time. Secular research. Got 317 problems. Visual Studio is trying to read an ancient copy of a mod that's been outdated for 2 versions or something. Oh wait, no, this was another of my work in progresses that didn't actually turn out. What was this? Yeah, don't matter. Okay, that's been updated. Let's put a quick notice on there telling people that this should now work. Oh, wrong button. Comments. That one. Research 3 now has experimental multiplayer support. Everything should work. That one. All right. Post a comment. Oh. Why does that not work? Screw it. Don't care. I remember multiplayer having like its own list of mods that should work and not. Yeah, this one. So let's see if we can update that for research tree. I was gonna say, it has to be there, right? Okay. So? This doesn't tell me anything. 1. What does 1 mean? Does not work. Okay. So how do I give people the heads up that this now does kind of actually work? Can I make a comment or something? Yeah. It says view only. You can only view this comment. Or this thingy. I mean, that makes sense. It would get crazy otherwise. But they could have at least enabled comments. Yeah, that's not gonna work. No, that's not my own stuff. Alright, so I can't do anything in here. I guess it has to just join the Discord. Sure. So where do I post this mod list? No, that's not gonna be it. Mod check. No, that's just for bots. Others. Well, that's just annoying. Alright, so in 10 minutes we'll send them a message saying that this should work. Yes. I'm a big fan of his no, it's him. His both his gaming and his creation channels. He's actually one of the reasons why I'm doing this at all, because he can get away with doing programming streams, then so can I. Or maybe, probably not, but hey, it's fun anyway. Okay. Tell you what, I'm going to take a tiny bio break and then I'll be back. In the meantime, why don't you suggest some other mod that we can make multiplayer compatible, and we'll work on that together. My mods, please. Just be right back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Grab myself a little snack as well. Good luck with the interview, Smashville. Don't know which one of his mods are incompatible with multiplayer. All of them! I haven't updated any for them. If they are compatible, then that's purely by coincidence. So I guess that some of them are going to be, but... yeah. I think WorkTap is going to be really easy as well, actually. Because it really only has one function that needs to be updated for this. Theoretically. What is the... Welcome to the chat, by the way. Butsko. What is the Corgi mod? Fair enough. I don't know if there is a Corgi mod. There should be one if there isn't. Yeah, I think work tab and medical tab are probably my most used ones. So let's have a look at those first. Maybe blueprints afterwards. But I mean, that one probably doesn't even need updating. I think that will work. Because I think they already add like the multiplayer layer to all of the designators. So if you create a blueprint, I mean the actual blueprints that you would create wouldn't be sent over the wire, but when you place a blueprint, then it creates all of the individual designators, like the frames and stuff. Then that should probably already be copied. I think, I'm not sure. Um, I'm fairly confident that out of all of this stuff, the only thing that actually matters is one tiny little function that always gets called eventually, and that would be on, I think it's this one, on the priority tracker. So yeah, this is a priority tracker for a given for a given work giver and a given pawn. And there's a bunch of catchers. I probably should do this on a higher level. The only thing that ever needs to be synced is this function. The one for a specific work giver, a specific priority, and a specific hour. And that gets referenced from line 95, which is this one, and this one. I'm sorry if I'm too silent. I'm trying to figure out how many of these functions I have and how many I would need to change. I'm not entirely happy doing it on this level because, well, frankly, I think I would need to make it a static function because I do not see how else multiplayer would be able to distinguish between instances of this thing. Which is not necessarily a giant problem, but it's not brilliant either. There is a static version of most of the same logic, which is in the extension, pawn extensions. So this is like the set of functions that does it for, not sure why this is here, to be honest. but whatever. This is a set of function that does it for a specific pawn work type and one priority and like a list of hours, and then you can also have it for a bunch of different variations of that. It basically yeah, but this doesn't do it nicely enough. No, bugger that. We're not doing this. We're doing it the other way. We're going from the priority tracker. But first we need to add the reference. Manage NuGet packages. Nothing installed. Can I add this to like my favorites or something? Pop that in. I need to figure out how this works at some point. Okay, so everything eventually calls this one. This one is the only thing that actually edits that actually edits priorities. I'm now just looking at what is in here. Because I'm not entirely sure why I need this whole sub thing. Because all that is in here, really, is like just the list of priorities. Anyway. This is gonna be tougher than I thought it was. I'm afraid. Because the favorites are also doing something and they're not being nice about it. Because they're taking like clones of entire things. Then again, I don't really care. I care when it gets applied to a pawn. Which apparently is never called. How do I apply them then? But then again, I use this clone method. I should be able to find that as well and patch that or sync that somehow. Shouldn't be the end of the world. Well, let's just... We're focusing on this one. So let's close everything else for a sec. Close all but this. If we're looking at what the like the buttons actually do, so the things that users will click, that would be in WorkGiver and WorkType. So here's the cell, handle interactions. This is the difference between using the toggle one and the detailed one, either way. And then we're using increment and decrement functions. And with the toggle version, we're using it directly, but we're doing it through the extension on pawns. So we're using this one, and then we're going to the priority tracker. So this is the one we're patching, and that will just use this one to do it for every work type for every single hour, and then for all the work givers in a work type, we do it again, and then we end up at this one. This is the one, again, the important one that I was talking about. So that goes fine for the toggle. And then we look at increment and decrement. Let's have a quick look at where those are. If I can even find them again. Here we go. Okay, so those are extensions on the work type. Brilliant. And then we're just getting it for the work type and then setting it. Great. Going to the priority, going there, and we're back to where we were before. Work type probably works. Let's look very quickly at the header for this. So these are the header interactions. Yeah, kind of the same thing. We're doing it for all pawns, and we're adding a little bit of extra logic. But then again, for the pawns, we're just doing increment priority for the pawn, which goes down to that thing again, goes to the same through loop, everything, blah 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 blah. All right, that will work, probably. We have the same sort of logic here, so I don't expect this to be anything different. Because now we're just using work giver increment priority and decrement priority, which again just goes to the same set of extensions and helpers and everything. It's a little bit convoluted, and it's also it's extra convoluted because I did this in like 3 phases. So there's some of the original code is still left, then I changed a lot, and then some of that is still left, and then I refactored it again, and then some of that is still kind of left. So it's sometimes it kind of feels like there's 2 systems side by side. It's kind of shitty, and it's kind of due for a rewrite, to be honest. But not right now. The toggle version does it directly. It sets it to 0 on this. Yeah, this is going to the same thing again. Not worried about that. And the exact same thing happens here, just with some more stuff. So that's not terribly interesting either. Then the only thing that I'm worried about is the favorites and how those get applied. So we've got those favorites here. So I'm confused why this is never called. So we can look at the pawn column worker for it and just see what it does again. Okay. So this is taking over from pawn column worker icon. It's just a subclass of that. We're just using a button, and then go to this one. Then we do a favorite float menu for, and this is where we actually do shit. So it's creating a new, this is clearing, and this is what I'm worried about. So what happens here? Float menu option with a label. What the hell? Excuse me, sorry about that. So we're getting the favorite manager for the pawn and then assigning that favorite to it, huh? Oh, right. No, this is just the manager, and then we're doing this one. And if we assign a favorite, then it's just saying favorite pawn is that. What does that even mean? What is a favorite again? How did that work? It's just a priority tracker. Oh yeah, that's how I did this. I remember now. So priorities work by basically replacing the tracker for the pawn. So normally a pawn has its own priority tracker that is individual to that pawn. But the favorite works by just replacing that tracker. And then when you try to get a priority for a pawn, so that would be here, I guess. Priority manager. That will have an instance. Yeah, this is what I meant. The pawn. Yeah. Then if it has a favorite assigned to it, it'll just return the favorite, which is just the priority manager for that. And the trick is that that can be the same thing for multiple pawns, which works just fine. A little bit hacky. A little bit. Yeah, and otherwise it will just create a tracker for that and then return it and whatever. And these are just pawn priority trackers, and this is a favorite, which is just a different version of a priority tracker. But if I'm... This is also just a priority tracker. It's not all that different. Okay. What does that mean? That means that for the priority tracker, really nothing changes. The only problem is that we need a way to identify each priority tracker. I think. Because I'm pretty damn sure it's not just magically going to know which instance this is supposed to be being done on. But I've been wrong about magic in the past, so let's just give it a try. Why? This is all I need, right? I forgot what we did in the last one. This is a single one, this will be the top one. Yeah, it's just a sync method. Why is that not working? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just going to tell us that it's only allowed on like a static class or something, or at least on a static method. Because that was the case for this one. Yeah, it's public static void. So if we just quickly test that, make this a public static. Didn't I already do that? Yeah. Okay, it says it's going to let me do this. I don't believe it. I just give it a shot. I have no faith in this whatsoever. Yeah. What do you guys think? Is this going to work or not? Definitely. Hey Adolf, glad to have you here. Have you mucked about with the multiplayer API yet? Do you have to for... I guess you don't have to for the alien races, right? You didn't play it. But did you like implement support for it or something? As I also haven't played it, but people are asking for support. Yeah, Fishbrains, theoretically you shouldn't have to. Because the way the multiplayer API works is it assumes that everything else is equal and that there's no random number generation. So the only thing that you need to keep track of then is user input. Everything else, because random number generation, well, it's still there, but it's the same on both platform, on both clients. So as long as you give the same user input, everything else should also happen the same way. Too bad RimWorld relies heavily on random number generation. I mean, that's fine, as long as you know that the random numbers that are generated are the same in both sides. But yeah, theoretically, yeah. I'm not 100%. Well, that's just silly. I'm not 100% on like what kind of random number generators are used in Unity or RimWorld or whatever. I know just the one from R, which is the language I work with, and then yes, a seed would work, but that actually has a bug that if you have the seeds, the random number generation is different on some versions of Mac clients than it is on all other systems, which is just stupid and terrible and whatever. But it's been there since forever, so everybody knows about it now. They do some weird stuff between push and pull mechanics RimWorld uses for RNG. Okay. Yeah, you can like explicitly start like your own instance of random number generation. Sure he did. Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's not like he's using the engine to actually do as a game engine. He's just using it for like a few functions here and there and like the UI cycle. Which, sure, is nice, but you're not using a hell of a lot of Unity. Makes you wonder why you would pay for it. Alright, let's see this break catastrophically. I'm going to click the Warden word type. I expect it to appear on the other screen. No. Yeah, I made the same mistake again. God damn it! Da, 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 da. I didn't even know that existed, but yeah. I mean, if that is what I think it is, then yeah. Because he really uses very little Unity. All right. So this time we're actually like registering our multiplayer methods, which seems to be important. I have no idea why you guys watch me. Like maybe I'm just unintentionally a comedy show. What are you complaining about now? That looks not good. I guess that's because you're trying to load in a multiplayer game that is not actually on multiplayer sizing or something. We'll find out soon enough. Error! Object reference not set to... This is not good. Yes, I told you to confirm that. I think I broke the game. Okay. But I'm happy you actually picking up a few things. I mean, I often just feel like I'm just bungling around and stumbling into stupid mistake after stupid mistake until actually magically I manage to fix things. So what the hell is this? Why is this suddenly breaking? You need someone from the team to explain how to create a local session. What do you mean, Adolf? You mean playing on your local computer with two, like in a multiplayer style? Because I've been doing that for a while now. I'm just not sure what's happening here. It's not finding the defs. Seems to have problems with it. I can probably fetch someone. Yeah, sure. I mean, if you can... yeah, why not? If they're willing to explain a little bit on chat, that would be nice. I mean, this seems to be fine. The load order and everything, so I'm not sure why it's bitching about it. Can we just host that again? This is a tutorial game, isn't it? Evening, Palader. Welcome back. Ooh! Instant crash. Brilliant. Love that. Why? Why do I suddenly get this shit? I'll turn that off. We're trying to set up multiplayer in the work tab, Bladder. I got it set up in the research tree, which turned out to be fairly easy. It should be fairly easy in the work tab once I got over a couple of hurdles, but for some reason it's decided it doesn't want to work anymore. So let's just test if I'm doing this or if somehow I've managed to screw up the devs for the work tab or the multiplayer thingy. I have a sneaky suspicion I'm doing it somehow. Sure. Yeah, why not? Do you know if you can synchronize methods on instances? So like I have multiple pawn tracker kind of thingies, like one for each pawn, more or less. Can you synchronize stuff on that, or does it have to be a static? Because in my mind it has to be a static, because how the fuck would it know which instance to use? But it also magically knew in which order we're synchronizing things, so I don't know. And it magically did lists. Okay, so it works if I do that. Using this wrong thingy. I should just say enabled. Maybe that's it? I'm checking this too quickly, and that's why it's pissing off. Well, I'm an idiot, first of all, Erdelf. I don't know how to do things, and I just try them until it breaks. Second of all, specifically, I have two questions. One of them is it okay to send lots of tiny changes over the API? And like, does it bunch them up together in one package? Or do I need to bunch it up to myself to make sure that it doesn't send like lots of tiny shit? And the second one is what I just told Bladder, so the instance stuff. Can I do it on an instance? Does it have to be a static? And how would that work? And do they have any suggestions on giving instances unique names that would work for two clients at once? If it does have to be a static, which I kind of assume it does have to be. Anyway, hi. Hi, not food. Welcome. If you have sliders, use the catch feature. No, I don't have sliders. My problem is where did I hide it this time? This one, right? No. Bugger. This one, right? So I have these priority trackers, and this is for work tab. And I have like multiple layers of functions for like increase all priorities for one pawn by one, or increase all priorities for all work types for one work type for all pawns by one. But in the end, it all boils down to this function. So this is one function where I might be calling this function 100 times or 200 times, probably even more, within one tick for one user interaction. Because if you update like everything for one pawn, then it will update all of the work givers for all 24 hours. So that's can easily be like 100 times 24. So I don't particularly want it to send like, what would that be? 2400 packages or something. Okay, I'm listening. Yeah. Either you can compare if it has changed and call a synced method. Hmm. Not entirely sure what you mean by that. Okay, but then the next problem I have is that like these are just instances, so I have a multiple ones of these lying around. How would I make sure that like the first instance gets synchronized properly with the first instance on the other client? Because I mean, um, it would be this dictionary that I would try to synchronize. Yeah, I mean he's the one who's written the damn API, right? So right, so I more or less expect this to horribly fail, but let's have a look. Huh. It's trying to synchronize something that I didn't think it was going to be synchronizing. So, not food. This set of errors, if I understand it correctly, what's happening is that because I'm doing this on an instance, it's trying to also send the instance over the line so that it can figure out what to sync, but it can't because this is an instance of priority tracker and I haven't told it how to synchronize those. I haven't set up like a sync worker for it. Am I seeing that correctly? Turning into a long moment. Let's have a look at what Pilador was doing. Or, yeah, Pilador. Um, that's a lot of what is it? Namespaces, I guess. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so this is the state thing that Adolf was also talking about. Regardless of sending too many packages, it should work. It just saturates network and more likely to desync. Yeah, but that's what I want to avoid. Because if I do this like the brute force simple way, then it would be sending like is this going to do anything? No. Alright, I'll have a look at that in a second. Then it would be sending like I said, like up to 2400 different updates or something. That doesn't seem like it's a terribly good idea. The error we were getting is this one. Can I not increase size here? Oh, for frigging out loud. It's basically a serialization exception overrider for work tab priority tracker. So that's for my custom type. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so that's what I thought was going on. And that's happening automatically because I'm trying to sync method a method instance. For sliders we must buffer weight, but stat must be accurate. Target outfit idea is not selected outfit idea. Or target stat equals stat, doesn't equal stat. Okay, so this is when you so when you switch stat or like a target or person, outfit or whatever, then it changes the buffer. Otherwise it keeps it in a buffer, and that buffer would only be updated like once per tick or something like that. Oh god. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at here. So that's just a bunch of helper functions, which is basically magic to me. You're registering a sync field, which is on this class, I guess. Yeah, on target weight. Target weight is just a float. Then you're setting buffer changes. Okay. Post apply calls after it has been updated on all clients. So post apply just means that after, for each client, after this update function, you synchronize any changes in here. Is that right? All right. This part is called from the GUI. Yeah, open a whole new page. That's absolutely necessary. It monitors if those variables have changed. Priority. Proxy fields gets updated, it contains target weight. Where do you actually populate that? I have to say this is not... oh, here. Oh, that's the thing that we were just looking at. That's just one field though, right? Oh, I hate this so much. Why can I not figure this out? It shouldn't be too hard. Alright, I'm just gonna try and play around with it a little bit. Okay, I'm going to assume... I don't need to assume. I can do this the old way and just make them referenceable. That is basically the same thing. Making something load referenceable means that you can identify instances when you load it from a save game and do stuff with that, which is basically the same procedure I want to do here. This is overkill, but it forces me to do this properly. So I want to get a unique load ID. Because I'm gonna need to do this anyway. I'm gonna need to figure out some way to make to identify the specific instance I want. Which means that I will have a private int load ID. When we're creating this damn thing, we have a constructor, right? We must have a constructor. Interesting. We do not have a constructor. Okay, didn't expect that. Priority. that one is also iLoad referenceable. We can just look at how we did it here. Yeah, so private int load ID, exactly the same thing. And we have a set load ID function, favorite manager, get next ID. We could change that to priority manager. That's simple enough. Alright, that's gonna be bitching somewhere. We can add that. Instance get the priority on priority. Interesting. Doesn't set priority does that and do that anyway? I have two methods, one for testing if it has changed and doing other logic that doesn't require MP, and a real sync method that changes the variable. Yeah. Yeah. It's a harmony prefix return false. Yeah, I got that. So then you're just not executing the vanilla method. I was under the impression that vanilla didn't execute anyway if it wasn't done that way, but I guess then it would still try to sync, which is basically a no change thing, because you're syncing the method, I assume. And that's also why you're doing it at a high priority. Like this, I'm assuming this is going to be before a multiplayer. Yeah, sync method always executes. Sync field is the one that waits for changes. Yeah. And you just put a sync method on the set priority function. Right? I mean, it's obviously not here, but... Anyway, I was trying to add the next ID thing to priority manager because favorites are basically just priorities as well. So we can do the same kind of logic there. We need to add that as a field, private, static. It doesn't need to be static, it's, whatever. Int next ID. That'll get initialized at 0, and we need to scribe this thing as well. And we can take that line out of the favorite manager. And put it into the priority manager. Right. Now we need to use this one in our favorites. No, in fact, we don't need to do that at all anymore. Because we're going to do it in priority tracker instead. Well, in this case, it just prevents the code from running if it hasn't changed. Yeah. If it changed, it will execute the sync method. Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming sync methods are just like Harmony patches behind the scenes as well, or something similar, to like intercept it. And what you're doing now is just making sure that your patch runs before the sync patch, so that that never gets executed. Yeah. Cool. Dope. I removed too much. This needs to return fluffy priority tracker and then the number, which is going to be our load ID. We need to scribe the load ID. We may be horribly breaking things for people with existing favorites now, though, by the way. Just saying. And I didn't even do this on a new branch, which was foolhardy of me. Oh well. Values look ref load ID load ID. There we go. I'm assuming that I somehow need to tell multiplayer API, whatever, which instance I want to be looking at. And considering that's basically the same operation as making stuff load referenceable, I was going to do it basically by implementing load referenceable and then using that ID or that unique ID to identify the instance I'm looking at. Or basically to sync the priority tracker itself, or the ID of the priority tracker. Because I don't want to send the whole thing over the line. It should be loaded normally. Yeah, no, I know. It's not actually for a save and loading. It's just for syncing, I guess. Because I can just send the load ID over the thing and then get the instance that I want again when I'm trying to do the sync worker. Maybe I'm looking at this all wrong. But then at least I understand something about this whole damn thing. Yeah, that was my idea. I'm so proud of myself. So I will. Do I have to implement like a change? Yeah, yeah, that was the idea. Do I have to implement like a change detection thingy? Because what I'm looking at is like this one, which is a dictionary work giver def work priority. So this is just a def, and this is another. It's basically an array of ints, but with some extra shit attached to it. Where is the load ID being used in your logic? Well, I'm using it to reference. Yeah. No. No, not really, because then I'm just using the instance. A favorite can be shared between multiple pawns. So each pawn has their own priority tracker. A favorite is just a subclass of priority tracker, but they're also kind of separate. So multiple pawns can share the same favorite. You can use the instance too. Please elaborate. I need to implement this function on the pawn priority tracker, no, on the priority tracker, that one. So instead of doing this, public virtual void set load ID. One too many. And here I'll just set load ID. Virtual member calling constructor. Why is that a problem? Yeah. I will need to implement a sync worker anyway. But then I can use like the load idea to do that, right? Instead of having to... I mean, I could also just send the pawn over the line. That will work for the pawn priority trackers, but it won't work for the favorite priority trackers, because I need some way to identify those. And instead of creating a different way to identify each, I would much rather just send over the load ID. Yeah, but that's the thing. That's not the case for favorites. So favorites already used to have a load referenceable just for that reason mostly. Because I needed to be able to reference them back when saving and loading save games. Whereas for the other ones, the other priority trackers, they're both attached to a pawn. Even though not in practice, but I can just give them a pawn as an owner. Yeah, that was the idea. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, so my next problem is I can implement a sync worker now. I don't think that will be too hard. That should probably be fine. My problem now is how do I do the actual sync field? But I guess I just need to have a look at that. And yeah, do I need to do anything special for like change detection or something? Like how does the API know that this thing has changed when the actual values are hidden in like two custom types? It's like in a dictionary of work priorities, and work priorities is another custom type with an int on it. Yeah, I mean, I got that basic thing working on. Like I just did the research tree, and I actually got that one working. I can find a file for it. Yeah, I mean, I did a similar thing there. Why can I not find the file for this thing? Am I going blind again? I put it in here somewhere. The hell? Still not there. Yeah, that's not my main problem now. Alright. That's where it ended up. Welcome back, Smash. How'd your interview go? So this is what I ended up implementing for the research node. So a research node is a wrapper around research dev, which the only really unique thing about it is the actual research dev it's for. So I wrote the thing that just like sends over the dev name for it, and then reads it in and like finds the node for that one again. Good news though, I hope. Oh, you actually made a patch. Cool. Interesting. Yeah, good point. I don't do initialization yet. Ooh, Gratchmas, good news. Congratulations. That's a good point. I forgot to initialize everything. So if it's not initialized yet, then this is going to fail horribly. So I need to fix that. I don't think all of this extra stuff is necessary though. The dequeuing and or maybe it is. Yeah, it is if you're going to start something. Wow, I missed so much again. Oh, this is why I don't like multiplayer. It's so hard. Yeah, you're just using bind on research, and that's defined for devs and something. Good night, Adolf. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, so the logic here is basically the same that I was trying to do. I just fucked it up. But I mean, this is a much simpler example. Wow, that took. Okay. I do think you're not. NQ is not necessary. Because the only place NQ is ever called is from NQ range. But yeah, DQ is probably right because that's I think that gets called when you like try and do the next research. 3 initialize fails. Well, that's an issue. Maybe you're trying to do it too early. No idea. Alright, but that would be a much easier problem to look at. Either way, this has been bending my mind. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this probably tomorrow. Well, actually, no, not tomorrow, but later, and try and do it like line by line and really understand what's going on, which I don't think is going to make good Twitch broadcasting. So I may do like an edited highlight of, okay, this is how I finally got it to work later on. But I'm going to end the stream now here. So thank you very much everybody for watching again. Not Food, Slimeru, thank you specifically for trying to help me out with this. Not just now, but also in the past, because I know you've been trying this one before. I'm just not. I find it hard to wrap my head around this whole extra layer of complexity and things going on. But I guess it's time to try that. So, good night, everybody. And I need to use my fancy end screen again. And see you guys on Thursday. I'll be streaming again, and hopefully by that time I'll be able to show you like, okay, this is how I finally got it to work, and this is what you need to pay attention to, and whatever. All right. Good night. Thank you very much.